The world is in trouble. An unknown creature and his minions are infecting our planet with deadly viruses. Plants and creatures are becoming infected and mutated. We need your help, Arty. You are Earth's guardian. Arty, even your catnip is getting infected. Yes, that's right. We need you to find and fight this evil. But these are tiny creatures. Shrink yourself down and face them at their level. Use your catnip for your power. Yes, there's bacteria around you. Use your power to manipulate it.
Welcome, we are Sunstone, and what you're looking at right now is our game Arty, the Cat of Life. I'm Andrew, the programmer.
And I'm Marta, the artist. I'm Corinne, also an artist.
And I'm Virgil, the sound guy.
Our idea is based on the popular Conway's Game of Life, which isn't a game in itself, but it's around the concept of blocks dying or being created according to a set of rules. With these set of rules, there are very interesting patterns that you can create. And we thought, how could we incorporate such a concept as a mechanic in a game? What we did was have certain blocks on the map, we call them bacteria in our case, that are affected by this set of rules. And through this we can create a vast array of different puzzles, allowing the player to create paths that weren't there, to close in gaps, to open up new pathways, to block enemies, and so many different combinations. The biggest challenge we faced with this was having the player actually understand what is going on with these rules and what happens to the blocks, whether they die or not. So what we decided was to simplify these rules and divide them as individual rules, as individual power-ups that you collect slowly throughout the game. So the player is introduced very slowly to these rules, and we create a set of levels with puzzles based only on the ability or rule that was collected. For instance, in the first level of our game, you collect your first power-up, which is the simplest rule we could think of, which is basically just says that if a bacteria block is lonely, meaning that there is no block around it, then it will die when you activate your power. So this is really simple, but we could create a set of puzzles only based on this. In fact, we have the next 7 or 8 levels based purely on this rule. And then after that you collect the second ability, which says that an empty space that has 2 bacteria next to it, at least 2 bacteria blocks, will become a bacteria in itself. So as you can see, the first one allows the player to open up paths if a bacteria is blocking the player, while in the second rule you can build up paths so that the player can cross gaps. In fact, besides simplifying the mechanic for the player to understand, it was also an eye-opener to us, because we actually realized how different combinations of puzzles we can do in the game with just few of the rules. So by using different combinations of the rules, we can have a vast amount of puzzles. It was for this reason that we decided to have different worlds in the game, each having their own set of rules, so we can create different combinations of puzzles. In the scope of our game, we have implemented one world, 2 different rules, and over 10 levels with different puzzles and challenges.
I will show you some of the puzzle examples that we have in the game.
Welcome to Arty, the Cat of Life. We have these exclamation marks which tell you what you must do, and as you can see in this example, bacteria are blocks, and you have this flag at the end which you have to reach. But you can't really cross it since the bacteria is blocking your path. So as the arrow indicates, you go down, and as you start exploring, you find these pills which give you the ability to manipulate and kill the bacteria. And as you can see, the bacteria has already changed its facial expression. Now it's sad, because if I press my lovely little spacebar, it will disappear. As you can see with these 3 bacteria over here. If I am too quick and I destroy them, then I am being taught that patience is a virtue and you must actually use all your skills when needed. As you can see with these bacteria over here, they are happy, which means that next turn they will not die. But if I move one of them, there's one lonely bacteria here on top, and when I use my ability, it disappears. But the others are still there, they're still happy, they're still thriving. I myself cannot jump up to that platform up there. So my only solution is to move this block of ice a bit closer so that I can jump. But still, I have another pesky bacteria blocking my way. But what I can do is activate my ability while jumping.
Besides the puzzles in this game mode that I've just shown you, we have 2 other game modes in order to change the pace of the game and keep players on their feet. We have the time mode, and we also have the build mode. Time mode has actions taking place after a certain amount of seconds, forcing players to think fast, move fast, and make quick decisions. In time mode, instead of the player activating the rules get activated after a certain amount of time, forcing players to think quickly and decide quickly what they have to do. In build mode, players have to think. They can place bacteria in certain strategic points that can help them collect more catnip and finish the puzzles.
And this is the timed level, the counter up in the top right, which says how much time you have until an action happens. And as you can see, I was not fast enough when action happened, and I cannot get to the end. What players will constantly feel is the pressure of time, as they do not have the luxury of thinking and planning out a track like it just happened to me right now. Build levels, on the other hand, are not at all fast, they are very slow paced. So by pressing X, we see a hammer on screen, and we can navigate and put a block wherever we want. However, we only have one block, as shown up here in the top right corner. We place it into a position that we are comfortable with, and then we navigate and get to the ending. However, we realized that we made a mistake if we were going for catnip, because we cannot actually get the catnip right down there below, which leads us to learn that there are multiple ways to finish a level. In this level here, we see another pill, and as we remember, pills introduce new abilities. With this ability, you can create a bacteria when there are at least 2 neighboring bacteria.
And I'll talk about catnips. Our Arty loves catnips. Catnips are collectible like coins. They are used for the player to give them motivation to improve their skills, to replay the levels, and because Arty loves catnips. There are different ways to complete each level, but not every way will let you collect all the catnips. So be careful on what you choose. When you find all the catnips in a level, you will achieve 3 stars. If you don't, you will achieve 1 or 2.
One of the biggest challenges was to make the player feel comfortable of the idea of manipulating blocks as a game mechanic. So we made this tutorial in an efficient way in order for the player to easily follow what to do. During the game development, we did a playtest, and by that we took in player feedback, and we found out that the player wanted to enter the tutorial mode in any point in the game. So we implemented the tab as a place where the player could go in and enter the tutorial. So all the exclamation marks that you see throughout the levels you can go into, and each one of them will come with a description of how you can use your different abilities. For example, when you go into a pill, you will enter a special training meditation from which you can go into the cat's mind and remember from what you have learned before. So through the tutorials you can, for example, see how a block works, and for example, when it's standing by itself with no surrounding blocks, it will become sad, and when you use your ability, it will disappear. When there's 2 blocks just beside each other, you can again use ability and nothing will happen. For each rule we have a specialized training which you can revisit over and over again using the tab key.
Thank you for your time.
See you in Russia, Nazdrovya!